The moment I put it on, it was a wow moment. And this is obviously the next big thing for Apple.
Play a YouTube video, throw it on the wall up there, make it super big. The future of phones, maybe?
$3,500.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new type of video on PhoneArena. I'm Rad, and with me here is Vic. Hi, Vic.
Hey, Rad. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this podcast style of thing. More in-depth conversation about the most interesting things we have seen in the recent past and present. So, Rad, why don't you kick it off? What do we have in this first episode?
First episode, we figured, hey, we have a brand new thing here, which is the Vision Pro. The Vision Pro. Yep. It's been out for what, maybe now a couple of months already on the market, seeing some reviews. We just had our review published on the website. We have a bunch of interesting impressions out of it. So let's see if that's going to be, the future of phones, maybe?
The next thing after phones, maybe. So these are, Rad has been using it, let's say, for a few weeks. He has some impressions, some more in-depth impressions with this. I just tried this for the first time today, so I'm fresh off it.
How do you like it?
Mixed feelings. Really impressed with the technology, but also a slightly tighter fit than I expected, a slightly heavier than I expected. So there have been some issues while using it, but it was also, the moment I put it on, it was a wow moment. And it's really impressive that it's so intuitive, so easy to get into. Let's just say the basics about this first before we dive deeper. Apple Vision Pro, released on February 2nd in the United States only. You cannot get it in other markets, which is strange because Apple usually releases it to a bunch of other markets too. This is only US only. The price, $3,500.
Woo!
Yep, it's expensive compared to the biggest competitor, which is the Meta Quest 3. What's the price on that?
It's $500.
So this is 7 times more expensive than the Meta Quest Meta Quest 3, pardon me. And so this is what it looks like.
Ski goggles.
Typical Apple aluminum, silver, glass on the front, and a bunch of cameras all over the place, sensors, and the buttons are kind of borrowed from the Apple Watch. You have the home button here and the digital crown on the other side, a bunch of vents here. This part here detaches with magnets. So
everything's magnetic here. This cool one. And then you can also remove like the little cushion here.
Oh, the cushion here goes away.
Which is good because you want to wash it after some time,
Yeah, that definitely would be good to know. And you have this strap, this band here, which is really stretchy, and you can adjust it by turning this clock wheel. All right.
Yeah, and this band here is so cool, so soft. It really hits you like they've done a thing or two with fabrics by this point with around the Apple Watch, I guess. So there is a little bit of know-how that you can immediately feel here with this solo knit band. That's like the default one, which is the more stylish one, because they also get with, in the box you also get another, which is the dual loop band, which has this loop on top of your head here, which to me doesn't look as cool as this one.
Definitely
but
not.
People say it's way more convenient because you have another point here to support it on top of your head. But the problem with that is obviously it's gonna ruin your perfect hairstyle. So that's why they choose to market it with this one.
Right, so basically you have one more strap on the other one which goes on top of your head. And as Rad said, it kind of ruins your hairstyle, but it is easier to wear for prolonged periods of time. Which one are you using?
I prefer to use it with this one, although, most of my sessions lately have been on the shorter end, maybe 30 to 60 minutes. I don't know if I choose to try to use it daily for as much as I can. if I won't like to switch to the other one. But for now, I'm good enough with this one. It has this wheel here to tighten it up, which is really cool.
Yeah. And it looks cool too.
Yeah.
All right, so in terms of hardware, A score. In terms of the looks, maybe, but not so much in terms of the weight and
the
fit.
comfort, definitely not there yet.
So this thing weighs. We already told you guys about the Meta Quest 3, which is a bit lighter.
So I thought there's a bigger difference in the weight between this one and the Quest. But this one here is 600 grams, somewhere around there, and then the Quest 3 is 500 grams. So slightly lighter with its plastic design, but not a huge difference at the end of the day.
Right. Okay.
But it's still quite a hefty, device to put on your head, and when you have in mind that it's extremely front heavy, like this thing is. So this thing, all of it here is cool, but then all the technology happens on the front end, right? So you have the glass, the aluminum here, chips, fans inside it. So the lens, everything is up here in the front. So everything rests on your face, on your nose. These are the pressure points. So that is why they're gonna, I would expect that, next generations, the successor to this thing, they're gonna focus on weight reduction a lot.
Yeah, that probably would be the first thing
I hope so.
they would kind of improve. I also think that should be top of the list at Apple for the next generation. And interestingly, we don't know when the next generation will come because we see, like with some products, most of the products Apple makes, they are on a yearly refresh cycle. So the iPhones, obviously, every September.
Yeah.
You have the Apple Watches with them. Also, every year you get a new Apple Watch. Not so with the iPad. The iPad has an irregular launch schedule every 2 years or so.
And same with the Macs, right? They're not exactly each and every year.
Yeah, same with the Mac, the MacBook. So we don't know how Apple will approach this.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a different product than those other ones, but a second generation is surely coming.
Oh,
That's
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, and this is the kind of what you see, and what is inside? What do you have in terms of hardware here?
Inside you got your M2 processor, so quite a powerful computer out of the box. And that's the whole thing with the Vision Pro is Apple is positioning this as a computer, as a new type of computer, which they call spatial computer, Whereas with Meta and the Quest devices, those are like primarily built as gaming devices, pretty much targeted at gaming. And this one, not so much. Like Apple really thinks that we can get your work done on this computer, you can get your communications done on this computer, and then also your entertainment as well. But so that is why it has the M2 processor. It has 2 displays, micro OLED displays of, I believe, over 4K resolution each. So quite a lot of pixels to push, which I guess explains the M2 inside it.
Right. And you kind of need that because those displays are so close to your eyes, you need that higher resolution, right?
Exactly. To make it because the Quest is not as high resolution, I think, and most of the other devices in the field are not there yet in terms of the resolution. And they're still fine, you still get your immersive experience. With this one, it's like the next level of immersion. And you need the super high resolution, the crispy lines and curves. If you see pixels and jagged edges and stuff like that, it kind of has that like digital feeling, and which is, counterproductive to AR and VR in one.
Yeah, so definitely high-end hardware inside it.
Yeah.
You have the vents here for the fans.
Yeah, it has fans.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it in such a tiny product, or maybe you should because it's so tiny compared to a laptop here, because the M2 chip is the same one as in the previous generation MacBooks from 2023. And this has the same chipset as the MacBook. So yeah, lots of power inside it. And in terms of just other hardware, you have 2 versions in terms of the storage, right? So 3500, that's the base model.
Yeah.
And then you can also upgrade to a different tier with more storage, and that costs extra. Yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
the base one has 256 gigs, and then the bigger version is 512 gigabytes of storage.
Yeah, so probably at the moment doesn't make sense to consider the bigger one for most people because there aren't that many things to install yet.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe for most people, 256 is gonna be enough at this point.
Okay, and to kind of segue into the experience of using it, I wanted
Right.
to read how Apple presents this little quote about the Vision Pro that Apple gives us. It is, Vision Pro is a revolutionary spatial computer that transforms how people work, collaborate, connect, relive memories, and enjoy entertainment. So 5 things: work, collaborate, connect, relive memories, entertainment. But work is at the forefront of this list.
Yep.
And this is kind of different than other headsets.
Way different than the Quest and most other VR headsets, right?
Okay, so have you done work on it?
I have. Yeah, it's very cool when you, because right now we're approaching it kind of as an experimental device. You're not really, I don't feel ready to take all of my workflow from the Mac, let's say, or iPad or whatever, into the spatial computing stuff that this device does. But it was surprisingly, workable. It has pretty much a desktop level OS inside it. That they call it Vision OS. Obviously, they're borrowing parts from Mac, from iPad OS, and all that stuff. So it has full-featured Safari browser. It has your calendar, notes, all the apps that you would expect. You can call people, have calls, conference calls, whatever. Play games on it. It has the App Store, and at this point, it really has, for a first-gen product, and so early in its lifespan, it has quite a lot of software available for it right now.
Okay, that's interesting. So you have all your kind of online productivity tools. You can obviously do everything via the browser. And you also have the App Store, which is really interesting. So I just wanted to quickly talk about the app situation here because some apps are not available at launch. Others are. So maybe if you can quickly walk us through which apps did you find missing and which ones did you actually use?
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure about the process Apple has right now. What I've noticed is because people say you get all iPad apps on this thing and some are really missing. So you get some apps, but others are strangely missing. For example, you don't get Facebook, you don't get Instagram, you don't get Messenger, which makes me think that there's probably a part of it where Apple needs to go through each and every developer and update their agreements about their apps, because if you're a developer, you've agreed for Apple to distribute your app on the App Store, but on iPhone, on iPad, on Mac, there's nothing about there on Vision Pro. So maybe they need to update those agreements.
Yeah.
And for developers to say, okay, good, yeah, publish them for the Vision. So some of these things are missing. Others are there, like X. You get your X app. You have Slack. Many of the popular ones are on there already.
Okay, that's cool. And basically, the idea is that you can use most apps made for the iPad will work on this. So you already have some, let's say not some, plenty of games available.
Yeah.
And you have plenty of other apps as well. So the kind of the database, let's say, of apps is already there. It just needs to go through this vetting process, and developers obviously have to sign up for the Vision OS platform in order for those apps to become available. All right, and you can definitely have multiple of those virtual screens flying around in big size and much bigger than your 13-inch laptop or 15-inch laptop or even 30-inch work monitor. So how did you find that experience? Did you feel like an upgrade to a much bigger screen? Was there a difference?
Well, absolutely. Well, to me, it really feels like if you can look past, the heavy headset, the discomfort over long sessions, that kind of stuff, it feels like you're almost like releasing your digital content out of these little boxes that we have. The phone, the tablet, even the laptop feels like small. And then with this kind of spatial computer, with the Vision Pro, you're like unleash your content, and so it can now live in the full space around you, be as big as you want, as small as you want it, position it exactly where you want it, and that's the whole thing. And you can take it with you wherever you go. Like so, I really like that. Like you can play a YouTube video, throw it on the wall up there, make it super big, and it stays there. And you can do whatever you wish, and your video is playing there. It's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. I would say like wherever you go, maybe just a bit of a stretch because this
Yeah.
thing is kind of big, and especially with the travel case. The travel case itself, the official one that Apple sells, is also kind of gigantic. It's a backpack on its own.
Big case.
So
Right.
yeah, you can take it everywhere as long as you have space in your backpack or wherever you're carrying this. But otherwise, it's pretty cool. You can really take it in places where you cannot carry your 30-inch monitor.
Like
that's
your
for sure.
TV,
Or your TV.
like your 60-inch TV, and not to forget about this guy.
Yeah, on the
here.
battery.
Yeah, you also gotta lug this around with you.
So basically, this is how it detaches with this magnetic cable. Quite easy. You have
It's
the.
a completely proprietary solution there.
Yeah, let's see if I can
Takes
get
a little bit
uh,
of
here we
getting
go.
used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have these pointy points here that you connect it to, so not too hard. But yeah, that's the battery pack. How long does it last?
Well, officially up to 2 hours. We've discovered that, like, if you disable all networking, for example, you're on a plane, you want to watch movies, it's gonna take maybe a bit longer than that, 2.5 hours, maybe up to 3 hours. That's gonna be stretching it, of course,
Yeah.
but yeah, in extreme cases.
So this is a bit. The battery pack is about as big as your regular 6.3-inch smartphone.
Yeah.
But heavier.
Heavier, definitely.
All right. So that's the battery. But what
Yeah, and
else?
funny thing about it, by the way, did you see the story about a connector on the other end here?
Not
Where
really.
someone, it turns out you can actually unplug that cable, maybe if you force it a little bit. Like don't do it at home. Like it's not meant to be detached from here, but someone did it, and it turns out on the other end right here, there's a giant lightning.
Oh yeah, I saw
connector,
that. There's like
Which
something.
I think is so cool.
Yes.
It's so cool.
And it's also so Apple because it's not a USB-C connector. Everything else is USB-C, and this one uses a totally different. It's not Lightning. It's looks like Lightning, but it has more
Bigger,
pins.
bigger.
Yeah.
Like it's the
So
final boss of lightning.
it's not a standard Lightning cable, so it's just another proprietary cable from Apple. But yeah, that's cool. Anyway, so I wanted to go back to the experience of using this thing. So as we say, you can use it for work, and it's pretty good for work, except for one thing: typing. So
Yeah.
typing on this thing, you get a virtual keyboard that kind of floats in space, and you can use both your hands or your index fingers to kind of tap on it. What do you think about that experience?
It works. I understand why it's there.
Yeah.
Like you need it. As bad as it is, you need a typing experience that's built into this. So you can either like look at each letter and tap each one, then the next, and so on. Or because you can, in the virtual space, you can also like touch the different VR elements, and that also serves as, as if you're clicking them the normal way. But you wouldn't do that on stuff that is far away from you because you need to walk up to it and then push it
Yeah.
physically. But now with the keyboard, it's meant to be typed on this way because it always appears right here, right in front of you. And so you can push the keys on the virtual spatial keyboard. And the good thing about it is they've at least allowed you to do it with two index fingers. So you can type like this. on it.
A bit faster. It's not like
A bit
super
faster.
slow.
Right. It's not this. It's you can type like that. Still super slow for most people.
Yeah.
So for real work, I wouldn't say that, that it
You
works.
need the real keyboard. You need
Yeah.
your 10 fingers
Yeah.
for fast typing.
Whatever we do, we cannot move past the keyboard. That's the reality of the situation.
Yeah, it seems so. And is it easy to connect like external accessories, maybe a keyboard? Can you even use a mouse with this thing? Not sure.
So for the mouse, I'm not exactly sure. Like you can connect Bluetooth accessories to it, keyboard and so on. You can connect like your Mac, and then, which is interesting, the Mac touchpad and keyboard start. You can operate the Vision Pro with them, which is
Wow, that's
really cool.
interesting.
Yeah. So you can do that. It has the cursor. The cursor looks like the one on the iPad. And you can type on the actual physical keyboard. You can connect the Bluetooth keyboard, and so you can do work this way. So yeah, that's how I would do work on it.
Yeah. Okay, so connecting like a keyboard, no problem, and actually something you recommend, and I think would make life much easier.
For sure. Yeah, if you're doing it for like office work right now, which I'm not sure you want to do that at this point, for super long sessions for a full work day, that's going to be probably too much. Like I don't know if the red marks that's going to appear
Yeah.
up here from wearing are ever going to disappear if you do like full 8-hour work day on it. Maybe they'll stay forever on there. I don't know. But for sure you're going to need to connect it to accessories.
Okay, so this is kind of what the work situation looks like,
Yeah.
and then you also have a couple of other things that you can do on this, which for me are more interesting because I already have my work set up. I'm not necessarily looking to replace it. Maybe try this as an upgrade, but that's not something I need. But what I really enjoy the idea of is having a large screen to enjoy a movie, TV shows, stuff like that. So, what do you think about that? Now, for you, do you use it? Did you enjoy using this more for work or for entertainment?
To me, it was both because I try to look at it as like a spatial computer that I would like do everything on. But for sure, watching movies, videos on that thing is like killer use case. So it looks great. You need to get like 4K videos like always because turns out if you have displays this close to your eyes and they're 4K displays, like resolution is really key to get right. And so
Right.
I found that anything below 4K tends to look a little bit, pixelized.
Right.
Not great, really. But once you get to 4K, and if it's good quality 4K, it starts to look really immersive, as if you have a big TV whenever you want to throw one. So, yeah.
That's really cool. I think I used this just for a few minutes, but that was my favorite thing. Just having that giant screen moving it around. It was really a cinematic experience, and even the speakers on this thing are pretty good. You would be surprised to see the speakers are small. They're kind of here on the side, and they're pointed towards your ear. And at regular volume, the people around you don't even hear them.
Yep.
They're very, very well pointed, very directional sound. And if you crank up the volume, obviously, the people around you will be able to hear a tiny bit. But not very distracting, I would say. So I'm really impressed with the speakers. Obviously, you can also use AirPods to get even better sound quality out of this. All right. Well, with this in mind, I just wanted to touch upon some of the more tricky parts of using the Vision Pro or the things that could be improved. And for me, the first thing here is the way you share this device.
Yeah.
So maybe if you can walk us through how you use it and how you share it.
Sure. Well, I wouldn't say it's made for sharing exactly, but Apple does have a special mode here called guest mode, which allows you to quickly, temporarily share it with someone so they can at least try it to see how it works. Good promotion technique. So because eye tracking and hand tracking is so key for this to work correctly. Like the whole setup, once you first turn it on and put it on, takes you through hand tracking, eye tracking, calibration, and setup, so it's tailored to your exact face shape, the distance between your eyes, your specific eyes, your hands. And so if another person puts it on, it won't really react precisely, and it won't be precise in the way to use it. So that is why they have the guest mode. Once you activate that, then you have like 5 minutes to give it to the other person. And when they put it on, it takes them through like a mini version of that setup process, where it allows them to calibrate quickly for their hands, eyes, and so they can then try it on. That's pretty much how it works.
So you have to first set it up for yourself, and only then you can kind of share it with others. And sharing is a bit limited in the way that the other person can only use this for a while, and when they take it off, it's automatically back to your
settings,
locked to your profile. Let's say
it's locked. Yeah.
So this makes it pretty much impossible to share with family, with your kids, with your wife, whatever it is. So it's like you can share it in guest mode every time, but imagine you're not at home and someone wants to use it to watch a movie at home. Not possible.
So what I hear from I think the community, one of its most required updates and features right now is like multi-user support.
Multi-user, yeah.
Yeah, because right now it's too much of a pain. It doesn't work. As you said, if you're not at home and this thing is at home, like anyone else there just can't put it on and use it for whatever. You need to be there, you need to authorize it, you need to enable guest mode, and so it doesn't work.
Yeah, and just to give one example, for example, I wanted to take it with me for the weekend to just kind of use it, get a better sense of it, maybe watch a movie or something. But since you were not in the office on Friday when I wanted to kind of take it, it was impossible because it was locked to your account, so I couldn't use it, which is a bit of a bummer, to be honest, because it's an expensive device and it makes all the sense in the world for this to have multi-user support and to be shared in the family. But it's there's a bit of the Apple way of doing things here, that they know what's right, and maybe it makes sense to have this perfectly calibrated, to have this perfect fit.
Yeah.
And by the way, also the seal here, the light seal has to be the right size for you. So maybe that's part of the reasoning. So maybe another person won't have the same light seal size. But this just seemed like a bit weird to me.
Although I can see like a world where you don't have, not everyone needs to have their own Vision Pros at home, at least.
Yeah.
But they have like their own light seals, because all of these things attach magnetically, and then the little cushion here attaches magnetically, because you want to wash that from time to time. But you can probably have different sizes of these, and then different users would just snap their own here, because the face shape is very important.
Yeah, I like the snapping sound.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well engineered, that's for sure. All right, so we touched upon work, we touched upon entertainment. And this is obviously the next big thing for Apple, especially now that they have kind of canceled their car project.
Yep.
This is the thing they're focusing on. This is supposed to be the future. But can it replace the smartphone? Or even is it meant to replace the smartphone? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't know if it's meant to replace the smartphone. I remember Ming-Chi Kuo, when the first reports about Apple's, AR glasses, MR, whatever efforts, they made it feel very much so that this is what comes after the iPhone. Right. So for the next 10 years or stuff like that. At this point, that's so far down the line. I wouldn't, try to forecast anything like that. But I can see it. Imagine if this thing gets 40% thinner, 50% lighter.
Yeah.
Way more convenient, and also more cheaper for sure, because right now it's not exactly mainstream at 3,500. I would imagine that in 2-3 years, like a couple of generations later, like we'll probably start buying these things and just enjoying spatial computing and slowly transitioning from maybe doing less work on the tablet or maybe less work on the Mac in favor of this, because it's really cool, it's really enjoyable to do it. But so maybe the phone's going to be like the last fortress to fall. I believe like the iPad's probably going to be the first one.
Yeah, because the thing with the iPad is that now you have the phone, and the iPad for most people, at least in my case, it is just kind of
like a bigger iPhone.
It's a bigger iPhone, but it's like my second iPhone.
Yeah.
And I don't need a second iPhone. I already have everything on my first iPhone. And sure, it has a bigger screen, but I mean, the advantages of that probably not as big as I thought they would be when they first launched the iPad. So it would be interesting if this becomes kind of an upgraded version of the iPad, or if it can actually replace the smartphone and you have all your connectivity in there and just wear it all the time. Because those are two very different use cases and scenarios. So that would be very interesting to see. Who should buy this? Should everyone buy this right now? You were really impressed. By the way, we have the full review already published.
I am impressed. Yeah, if I was Tim Cook, I would say everyone should buy one, probably. Not really at this point. Maybe developers for sure. Developers looking to invest into spatial computing apps, which would probably be a smart thing to do right now in the beginning stages. So yeah, get one for sure. Tech enthusiasts who, if you have the money to spend, I don't see anything wrong with it. It works.
If you have a few $1 million in your pocket, buy it.
Buy one, yeah. Get one for the wife, because there is no multi-user support. Exactly.
One for your home chef, one for your servants.
The cat. Exactly. Everyone should get a Vision Pro. One for us as well. Because it's just good. Like it's limited by the form factor, the weight right now, but it works and it's good, and it has a full-featured OS. You can do pretty much everything on it.
It's a cool gadget.
It's a cool gadget that is not just like novelty stuff. It's not only that. It's not a gimmick. It works, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. But at this point, first-gen device, obviously you're better off waiting for the next, at least the second-gen version.
Yeah. So probably not for everyone right now.
Definitely
not for
not.
the mass
Definitely not.
customer.
No, you don't need that. You just get a Mac.
Right. And maybe some specialized professions or occupations would really benefit from that. We don't yet know. But I imagine this would be really good for some type of engineering work or medical education.
As well. Yeah.
There is lots of potential here. But in terms of mass use, probably the best use case is just watching movies, and a $3,500 kind of TV for just one person is probably not the best deal around, at least not yet.
Not yet, yeah.
So, yeah, there you have it, the Apple Vision Pro.
So, yeah, guys, that is like the Vision Pro. Definitely excited about the future of this sort of new type of computer, a spatial computer. Obviously, we're going to have our phones in our pockets safely for, I think, many years to come. Not ready to part with that one yet.
Yeah, I'm keeping mine.
Yeah, me as well. But that's definitely cool. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next episode.